Chase, man, welcome to the Pure Prospects podcast. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Before we get into a deep dive into basketball, I'd like for you to introduce yourself for everybody watching. Who is Chase Harmon?
You know, uh, I'd like to say, I'm a Christian, big on my faith. Love to go to church. Love to play different sports with my friends a lot. Recently, probably a couple years ago, I picked up golf. I've been playing that some, trying to. It's a good mental game. So I've been trying to work on that. Have it cross over, develop into my basketball game as well.
Yeah, man, I got into golf. I was working at a golf course, and I got to play golf every day. And golf is one of those sports. If you don't play it every day,
Yeah,
like
man.
it's so hard.
Yeah, like I mean, you could play it one time a week and you come back and you're like, it's like I never even played before. I mean, it takes incredible dedication. So shout out to the pros that do that because I mean, ain't no way I could do that for sure.
Yeah, they make it look so easy, but
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like the hand-eye coordination or like just the
yeah,
mental toughness that you have to have.
yeah, for sure. I don't know, but it's hard for sure.
It's so addicting because you can hit that one shot
Yeah, and
and
you're like,
like
I
10
gotta,
shots, I can do that again, and it takes
yeah,
you 20 more shots to hit that
yeah,
one shot.
for sure, yeah.
But when did you first fall in love with basketball?
I would say so. I'm originally from Florida. I lived there for the first 7 years of my life, and over there where I played at, they only had soccer and baseball. So growing up, I played soccer and baseball, and then I moved over to Kentucky, and it was about my first second grade year. I got introduced to basketball. Really, ever since then, I've loved every single bit of it.
Who's had the biggest influence on you growing up playing ball?
Uh, I would I would say my dad and my coaches for sure. My high school coach right now has had a really big influence on my basketball career.
When did you realize basketball was something you wanted to pursue like more seriously?
I would say I would say probably fifth grade at the KBC state tournament. Playing against some of the top competition in the state, being like, I feel like I could 100% hang with all these guys. So I was like, this could be something that I could really be good at, really, and have a great opportunity to play. Hopefully, some more after high school.
You spoke about like you're huge in faith, you like to play golf. What
Yeah.
what else do you do away from basketball?
I like to, when I'm not training or playing basketball or nothing, I like to hang out with my friends, and obviously school's about to start. So school's going to play a major role in a lot of the, you know, uh, free time that I have now. Obviously, I won't have during the school time. So that would take up a lot of my free time as well.
Yeah, speaking of school, you have that 4.14 GPA.
Yeah.
Where does the commitment to academics come from?
I mean, it really translates to everything, whether it's in the classwork or something as simple as like washing my car. I always want to do, give it 100%, give it the best I can. Never want to leave anything like off the table.
Do you have like just a love for learning as well, like learning new things or
Yeah, I always love to learn new things. I always like being a sponge with, like coaches, teammates, or teachers. In fact, for school, they tell me something. I've always found it fascinating. Always want to learn more about it for sure.
yeah, I kind of have that drive too. So I get
Yeah,
where you're at. When
yeah,
I evaluate your game, like the first things that stands out, I seen was your handle, like the pace, the ability, like your ability to create separation. You get someone on your hip, but you can get them off of you, and your confidence running an offense. Like, what
Mhm.
part of your game has improved the most over the last year?
I would say for sure picking up the role of being the leader on the team. Past years in high school, I've had this big senior class in front of me. And they always had like leaders. And past this year, been picking up that role a bit more, trying to get my teammates involved more, stuff like that.
What did you learn from those seniors that helps you be a leader now?
I learned a lot of, not only on the court vocal stuff, but more off the court, in the locker rooms, maybe after a tough half, trying to pick up the team, go to each individual, learn how each individual reacts, whether you got to really get on them, whether you got to be softer on them, depending on how their emotional state is. I would say stuff like that for sure as well.
You seem very comfortable with the ball in your hands. How
Mhm.
much work have you put in developing your ball handling skills?
A lot, man. I mean, every time I'm in the gym, I always start with ball handling, trying to get, work on my angles, stuff like that for finishing, trying to, like you said, create separation. But yeah, a lot of work with ball handling.
So Prep Hoop says you rank the number 10th ranked point guard in the class. What separates you from the other guys in the 28 class in point guard?
I would say, I'm whether you want me to score 30, 40 points, or you want me to, pass the ball, whatever you need to win, I feel like I can do that for you.
Man, also you have a 36-inch vertical. Like how
Yeah,
much have strength, experience, I mean athleticism and explosiveness part of your training? Like how much of that are you doing to get that 36-inch vertical?
a lot. I started lifting, I would say late middle school. You could have all like the skills in basketball you want, but if you don't have the strength, athleticism, you can't execute those skills. So I learned that at a younger age, trying to build up my size. But yeah, it's played a big part in my training for sure.
Have you always had a vertical like that, like in middle school?
Yeah, I was always pretty fast. As a smaller person, I was always pretty fast. I could always jump pretty high, but I've worked on it for sure. Like it wasn't just I had some God given talent for sure, but I've worked at it. I've improved it for sure. Yeah.
What is one weakness in your game that you're attacking right now?
I would say becoming more consistent with shooting. Like I can shoot. I think I can shoot pretty good, but it's more of like, whether it's off dribble or movement off shooting, trying to get that same feel as just a regular catch and shoot. I would say would be what I'm trying to really focus on right now.
When you're training right now, are you more focused on improving your strengths or attacking the weaknesses?
I would say both. You could always be better at some skill. Like you can always be better at something. So I'm always trying to improve every skill that I have. I'd say recently, the past this week, I've probably been attacking my weaknesses. Like we've been playing pickup, seeing what's going wrong or what am I doing great right now, and then what I'm doing wrong. I'll go back to the gym and try to fix that for sure.
Yeah, before we come on air, you said today was like the first open gym for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. We played pickup. Uh, yeah, yeah,
Just to let you guys just had pickup. It's the first
yeah,
time you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
got together.
Yeah, this is like the first time as a team that we got together since summer ball. A few teammates here and there. We'd go play pickup somewhere, but as a official team, coaches there and everything. This was the first open gym.
So what's that early look like for Clinton County?
I think we're going to surprise some people. There'll be people that's going to doubt us because we lost 7 seniors, but I really trust the group that we have. I feel like we could really make something happen in the district and the region, maybe even the state.
So you're playing point guard, and your point guard is one of the hardest positions, if not the hardest position on the floor,
Yeah.
because you're responsible for more than a lot than scoring.
Mm.
What does being a true point guard mean to you?
Like you said, scoring, whether you could score, whether you got to pass, depending on how the game's flowing, which one is going to help you win. I think my coach right now has installed that in me, teaching me to be better point guard.
Do you consider yourself a pass first, guard, scoring guard, or just somebody that adjusts to what the game needs?
I would say somebody that adjusts to what the game means, see who's on. If I'm on, I'd probably go to me. If my teammate's on, go to him, see who just adjust to how the game's going to go.
What's it take for like you're 28, you're going in your junior? What kind of mental does it take for to understand when somebody's hot to get them the ball instead of like continuing to run an offense and try to get it to other people?
Yeah, it takes a lot. It's a lot of that selfish desire that I got to get mine. You got to really get that out and focus on the game because the game's bigger than yourself. You got to get all your teammates involved as well.
So how do you know when it's time to take over, versus getting your teammates involved?
I'll usually by the first couple minutes of the game, I'll usually see how if I'm gonna be hot this game, I can feel it for sure, and I know that in the game I could get hot at any moment. it just takes that one shot.
So when you're in the pick and roll situation,
Mhm.
um, what are you looking for when you come off the ball screen?
Uh, Usually, I'll when I come off it, I'll look at see if my scoring's available, see where the defense shifts, see how the bigs reading it. Because usually, how they read it, they'll do that same thing the most throughout the rest of the game. I'll see if if my teammate's rolling, try to hit him. If he's gonna pop, I'll see how that big. If he stays with the big and pops out, I usually can take my man 1-on-1 after that.
Do defenses adjust to that pretty quickly if you're taking that first option?
Yeah, I'd say, especially in high school when you got all that scouting to do, they'll probably that'll become more of a factor, and I'll just have to adjust to it.
How important is changing speeds, when playing with pace as a smaller guard?
It's extremely important. You can go 100% of the time, but the defense is going to pick up on that real quick. If they know you're going to go 100% of the time, they're just going to let off and drop back. But if you're playing with pace, then they got to guard you. You can shift them. You can get to your spots, the mid range finish. It's extremely important.
Is that something you've been working on, like changing gears, changing
Yeah,
speeds a lot?
yeah. I've always had that really fast speed, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I really developed. I gotta have pace. You know, I'm. I'd say I usually almost the fastest person on the court every time, but you still gotta have that pace if you want to be relevant in the game.
What point guards do you study?
Uh, I would say for offensive wise and angles, I would go overseas player Chris Lax. He's good. He's about 5'7". So I always try to watch guards under 6 foot. Chris Lax, Josh Hubbard from Mississippi State. He's really good, and even Davion Mitchell from the Miami Heat. His offense and especially his defense and how he works hard and is a dog on the court.
Is there, any other players in college that you try to take pieces of their game and add to yours, or even NBA guys?
Yeah, yeah, I would say college wise, yeah, I always try to look at just smaller guards, especially Tyler Tanner from Vanderbilt, smaller guard. See his pace, how he gets to his spots. How he adjusts to the game, whether his scoring's off or whether he gets his teammates involved.
What's that like? If you're playing, man, your scoring's off. How do you
Mhm.
manipulate the defense to get your guys going?
Well, I know that if my shot's not off, I know I could get to the rim at any time. And when I get to the rim, that starts shifting over defenders. And if my teammates is hot, that's a kick out right there, and that's a three.
How about how much have you been working on like making the right read this summer going into this season?
Yeah, it's like I talked about previously in pickup or playing runs, like seeing where my angles are usually at, where my scoring is usually at, and just going based off that and trying to get my teammates involved as usual.
Chase, you're listed at 5'8", and
Mm,
everybody knows, everybody in basketball, they become with size and measurements. But eventually,
yeah.
you still have to be able to play, no matter what size you are. Do you feel like you've been overlooked because of your height?
Oh, for sure. Every time I walk in the gym, you see my height, that's the first thing you'll see. Like, yeah, this kid probably can't play, but I don't take to that. I don't really care about that. I'll show it on the court.
Does being considered undersized give you extra motivation?
Oh, for sure. Like I was said, being a small guard, people underlook you, underestimate you, won't take you seriously. And then, when that tip off starts to be like, okay, this kid can play a little bit. I'm gonna you know, have to start playing.
I bet you get to see some wild reactions to some of those guys. Uh,
Yeah.
I kind of have a few stories like that of my own, and they're just like,
Hmm.
"What?" It's almost like a
Yeah.
shock moment, like, "Uh oh," like it's one of those "uh oh" moments, right? That you get to see
Yeah.
out of their faces, like we need to lock in. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
almost
for
like
sure.
those guys think, "Oh, I've got an easy one here," and then they figure they have to lock in, so it's a total mental shift for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, being at 5'8", how have you learned to finish over bigger and longer guys, defenders?
Yeah, my trainers helped me a lot with that. Knowing he was a smaller guard as well. He played at Zalmiko Harmon played at UC Santa Barbara, and his brother Design Harmon. They know what it is like being a small guard. So you got to really got to use your body a lot, high off the glass, stuff like that. You got to really know who your defender is. If they like to block shots, you might have to stay on the ground, or you might have to go resort to the mid range, depending on where they are. You always just got to look at see what the team you're playing is like, whether they're tall, long, and then just adjust from there.
So yeah, when you're doing your scout, you have to check out the tendencies of the bigs, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you have to
for
do
sure.
extra homework. Being at 5'8", you have to do extra homework.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I love it. So,
Yeah, you seem like you're, very motivated. When somebody sees 5'8" on the roster before watching you play, what do you want them to understand about your game?
just I every time I'm out on the court, I want to give it 100%. And never want to leave something out in the court that I feel like I could have gave to the team. I feel like I could have gave to myself. I don't want to let anybody down. I just want to go out there and have fun.
Do you feel like playing against bigger guards has made you tougher?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially in AAU, that's about what you play all the time. Bigger guards. You'll occasionally see a smaller guard like that, but it's helped a lot because when you get to college, you're gonna have to play bigger guards. So I've past a few years, I've really adjusted to that, and it's made me a lot better player.
So this summer you were playing with Bab Elite.
Mm-hmm.
What's some of the size guards that you got to go against this summer?
Yeah. You usually see probably around 6 foot, 6 foot to 6'3" for the guards, and the bigs for 6'8", probably around there. Be the average, I'd say.
What was the toughest for you to adjust this summer, like against those 6'8" guys? Because in Clinton
Mhm.
County, I don't know what you're going to get to see this year as a junior, but I don't know if you're going to see very many 6'8" guys. But was that something you had to adjust to over the summer?
Yeah, I would say so. I was always familiar with bigger players because I'm an undersized person, so I've had to adjust to that a lot. But to this height, that was something I had to adjust to a little bit. But my trainer, he's been with me for a while, and we've always worked on that stuff.
What has playing for Clinton County meant to you?
It meant a lot, man, especially the program and the fans. I think it's one of the best fans in the whole state. It's they take basketball seriously, and that's how me and my teammates take it. We take it seriously. We every time we step on the court, we got to give 100%. Not only for us, but for the program and the fans as well.
What about the program? Like, what have your coaches done to help you develop?
I would say just they've really emphasized scouting and you know, you know, focusing on scout team and focusing on your opponent and what their tendencies is like. They've really emphasized that. It's helped me to scout my opponent better. It's helped me to prepare a lot better for them.
So you said you guys lost 7 seniors this past year.
Yes, sir.
So what does a successful season look like for you guys this season?
I would say I would say win the district for sure. That's got to be one. We got to win the district. I think we could really make a run at region as well. We played Warren Central in summer ball. I feel like if we got, we had some mess ups, especially playing them, but I mean, only lost by 20 to them, but I feel like we could definitely close that gap in for sure.
What about some individual goals? What's a successful season look like for Chase Harmon?
I would say, get on college's radars for sure, knowing that I know 100% that I could play at the college level. I would say, get my name out a little bit more, some exposure, and even work on myself a lot better too.
What's some of those things you can work on yourself?
I would say in the game, I'd be more definitely have more control over the game. Putting teammates where they need to be, being more vocal for sure. Off the court, sticking our teammates together, trying to create that bond. So when we got that bond off the court, we can have it on the court. And when something goes wrong, we got each other's backs.
Yeah, man, when you go to war, you got to make sure you guys have each other's back.
Absolutely.
No
Yep.
doubt. So how has playing AAU with Bab Elite helped your development over this summer?
It's helped a lot. Playing against tougher competition on the Under Armour circuit, especially for the past down in Atlanta, playing against some of the top teams in the UA Rise division as well. We played against Swiss Elite, who won the UA Rise. So that was and I mean I feel like we hanged with them too. I mean, we lost by maybe 10 or 11, and that wasn't until like the last couple minutes of the game. But yeah, I mean it's helped a lot, especially against tougher competition.
So going into the summer for Bab Elite, what were your goals playing with them in AAU basketball?
I would say really just develop as a player. Improve my strengths. So I would just say develop and get ready for this up and coming high school season.
So what's the biggest difference between AAU basketball and high school basketball for you?
Definitely the systems, how each team plays. Obviously your high school team's going to play different than your AAU. You got different people, different teammates, different strengths. You got to learn them each and just play off that.
So let's get into recruiting.
Mhm.
You're in an important stretch, as you're a 2028 prospect. What's the recruiting process been for you, like for you so far?
It's been good. I've been emailing coaches, trying to go to. We got a camp up in at Tennessee Westland in a few weeks. So trying to get the colleges on my radar, and trying to get coaches to know me.
Yeah, I think getting to that camp, Tennessee Wesleyan's camp with Coach Casey and them, man.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, Coach Casey only likes to have about 20 or 30 guys there at a time so he can properly evaluate you. So I
Yeah.
really think that's going to be a positive experience for you to get
Hmm.
that properly evaluated by, this guy's been coaching for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
He's been around the game, so he's going to be able to give you a proper evaluation.
Hmm.
Um, but more importantly, what are you looking for in a college program?
I would say just how would I be used? How would I be a benefit to your college? And academics will play a role in that as well, depending on what I want to do. So just I'd say academics and the best fit for and how the college would use me.
Like I said, man, you're a smart guy. You got a 4.14 GPA. So, how important will academics be in your college decision?
It'd be big, Like I said, whatever I want to do after college, I want to make sure I get a good degree, make sure that I have a job that will set me up for life, and stuff like that.
So, you're going into your junior year. Have you considered maybe what your major could be or what you want to do after the ball stops bouncing?
Yeah, I've thought about that a few times recently. Right now I'm thinking about either engineering or pharmacy. Right now is the two that I'm down to.
So, back to recruiting or your decision. Does level matter to you, or is it about finding a program like where you're really wanted and you can make an impact?
Definitely the program that I really wanted it can make an impact because you can always move up levels depending on if how you do. If I go into a college program that fit me, then I can do my thing, see how what other colleges think. I move up a level or two, but level don't really matter to me just as long as I get to play ball.
Yeah, man, with the current recruiting landscape, just getting that opportunity to get into a program is a
Yeah.
blessing. It's a blessing, no matter what your size is. And, with the portal, you get in there, you play well, you can move up. But if you get to a school that's too big for you and you don't get to play, don't get to develop, you try to go to the portal, it's going to be almost impossible to get picked up because you have no film and you have
Hmm.
no stats, you have nothing to pretty much sell to another program. So you're going to have to go down more than
Yeah.
likely. So yeah, man, I think that's a great mindset. But
Mhm.
what type of offensive system you think fits your game best?
I would say really just, playing up and down. I would say, I'm a fast guard, so I like to play fast. I like to play out the screens. I like to just have everybody moving. I feel like when everybody's moving, it's hard to guard. Defense has got to shift. Defense has got to keep reading, keep making up their minds, and when you stay disciplined to a system, it eventually will pan out for you.
Yeah, sooner or later they're going to make a mistake, right?
Absolutely.
Um, what do you want college coaches to learn about you when they watch your film?
That I play 100%. Every time I'm out in the court, you don't got to worry that I'm going to leave something out there. I'm just want to give it my all, and help the team win. Winning's all that really matters.
We can all watch film. What do you think coaches won't fully understand about your game until they get to watch you in person?
I would say, recently I've been picking up the vocal aspect of the game. I would say, just looking how I react to different things on the court, whether I make or miss a shot. I always got to get back on defense because if I miss a shot, the game doesn't stop. I still got to keep playing. I can still get back on the defensive end, and I always got that next shot mentality. Like if I miss a shot, okay, I'm gonna come back, and the next one's gonna be in. So it's just having confidence in my game and believing, the work that I put in will pan out for me in the game.
So where do you get that mentality? You miss a shot, you airball, you blow a defensive assignment. Like, how do you keep yourself mentally engaged for that next play?
It's really just, focusing on the hard work that you've put in, like knowing that I've made this shot 1,000 times before. It's nothing, whether it's on a different stage, whether it's in a different court, it doesn't matter. It's still the same shot.
When I evaluated you, I gave you an 8.4 out of a 10
Mhm.
overall grade. Right now I see a guard, you have the ability to develop into a strong D2 high level NIA prospect with the potential to push it beyond that if your development continues. The biggest thing for me right now are your handle, your pace, the way I was talking about you can create separation, you can finish with touch, and your overall composure. Like you keep a pretty solid head. So when you hear an evaluation like that, does that motivate you?
Oh, for sure. Whether I get a 9 or whether I get a 9.5, the best you can get is 10. I'm always going to strive to get 10. I'm always going to try to better myself. There's always, and I'm never going to be perfect at that aspect in the game, but I can always strive to be perfect.
So you're ranked number 10 point guard. Prep Hoops has you that in the 2028 class, 47th or 48th overall. Do like rankings like that or the evaluations mine, do they matter to you?
No, I don't really give it much thought. I just go out there and try to have fun. I just love basketball, and that's what I love to do. If that's what the rankings think, then I'll let them think. But I know what I can do. I know that I can compete with anybody on any given day.
What's more important, proving other people wrong or proving yourself right?
I would say myself. People can always think what they want to think. That's just what it is. That's how life is. I've always, I always I got a lot of supporters too. So it's always, trying to do right by them and try to do right by myself for sure.
Amen. Where do you believe your game could be 2 years from now?
Hopefully it'd be in college, playing ball. I feel like I think I'll develop a lot. My shooting will be a lot better. I think I'll be a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot stronger for sure. I feel like my athleticism is just going to continue to grow. I'm just going to continue to work on what I've been working on.
Man, you already look like a linebacker. I know I was talking to one parent, and he was like,
Hmm.
"Man, he looks like he's a football player." And I'm like, "Well, that's solid." I was like, "Cause he can run and jump as well." So,
Yeah.
and he's got a great, mental game. So we're
Hmm.
gonna get to mental mindset and adversity. What's the hardest moment you've experienced so far in basketball?
I would say definitely my eighth grade to going in freshman year. Always, wherever I'm at, I always feel like I can play. I always feel like I compete. In eighth grade playing varsity, that's a blessing, but I didn't get to play as much as I thought. That's just how it is. So, that was really, putting in work and not seeing results. And that was really hard mentally, but it's definitely, I wouldn't change it for anything else. It's made me a stronger person. It's made me stronger mentally, physically. It's made me work harder. And yeah.
Have you ever had a moment where you question yourself?
Yeah, for sure. But I've always, you always have doubt, worry, but that's where my faith comes into big play. Always leaning on God, knowing that everything turns out for the good, for His glory as well.
That's always why you continue putting hard work in too.
Yes, sir.
How do you respond after a bad game?
It's just I'll think about the game a little bit that night. Usually, I'll go back and watch film, seeing what went wrong, And really, that like I was talking about my faith, really just opened up my Bible, knowing that I'm a bigger person than basketball. It's this game, it will only last certain ways, but heaven's eternity. So I'm always focusing on bigger things, focusing on the Most High. Knowing that my identity is not in basketball, but in Christ.
What's something basketball has taught you that applies to life?
Discipline. Just something doesn't work out, you still got to go back to work the same day. Still got to go put work in, knowing that that work will show eventually. So discipline for sure.
What sacrifices have you made to pursue your goals?
A lot, man. There's got to sacrifice hangouts. Got to sacrifice, spending time with some friends. I mean, sometimes you got to sacrifice some family time. Whether if you really want to be good, you gotta sacrifice a lot for it. So I've sacrificed a ton for it.
When nobody's watching, there's no rankings, posts, or highlights involved. What keeps you working?
Really, just the love for the game. I mean, I just whether it's playing pickup with my friends, whether it's working on myself by myself, I love basketball. I love playing it. I love everything about it. It's really just the love of the game.
All right, Chase, we're going rapid fire, man. Don't think too much
Mm-hmm.
about it. Favorite
Yes, sir.
NBA player,
Giannis,
favorite college basketball team,
Kentucky.
best player you've ever played against,
Ooh, Matthew Lange from Marshall.
best defender you faced.
Uh, Probably this kid in AU. I don't remember his name, but he was really good.
So, man, I get that a lot. I know we're doing rapid fire, but like when I
Mm.
do these interviews, I'll say, "Who's the best player you faced? Who's the best player that's guarded you?" When you guys are at AAU, you guys don't talk to other guys on the team, or just so much going on.
There's just a lot going on. There's so many people playing. You don't really. It's really competitive, especially when you get to a higher level. You don't really. You just go out and compete.
Game winning three or game winning assist.
Game winning assist.
Score 30 or have 15 assists.
15 assists.
Best part of your game.
Ball handling,
One part of your game you're improving.
shooting.
Toughest gym you played in.
Definitely Marshall County's gym.
Dream school.
Mm, Kentucky.
One coach you love to play for.
Mm, Definitely John Calipari.
One word that describes Chase Harmon.
Disciplined.
Chase, let's finish with this. There are a lot of talented guys in the 28 class trying to accomplish the same dream. Why
Hmm.
should a college coach recruit Chase Harmon?
I feel like I can give anything you want to the team. Whether I got to change something about myself, change something about my game, I can do that for you. Whatever you need, I can do.
This is your opportunity. Like, you get to talk to the coaches watching. And guys, that's 2028 Clinton County guard Chase Harmon. Remember the name. This is a young man who brings skill, athleticism, and competitiveness with a 4.14 GPA to the table. But biggest thing now is to continue to develop, get stronger, produce, and proving it when the lights come on. Chase, I
Mm.
appreciate you coming on and telling your story.
Thank you
For
for having me,
everyone,
man.
yes, sir. For everyone watching, make sure you follow Chase's journey and stay locked into Pure Prospects as we continue highlighting him as well as other student athletes and helping prospects navigate the recruiting process. Where can we find you at on social media, Chase?
You can find me on Instagram at Chase Harmon 15. You can find me on X at Chase underscore Harmon 15.
That's it. You just what you got YouTube? Are
Yeah, I
you
do
on
got.
YouTube?
Yeah, I got a YouTube. I don't remember the
I'll get it
username,
out
but I
for
got
you.
yeah, yeah. I got a TikTok. It's Chase with two E's and Harmon one.
Man, before we hop off here, I just want to say I'm proud of you, dude. Keep working and
Appreciate it, man.
the hard work will work out, man. So
Yes, sir.
I appreciate your prayers. I'll be praying for you and your family. You
Thank
guys
you,
have been
sir.
great.
You
So
as well.
for everybody out there, I'm Cody Thomas, and this has been the Pure Prospects Podcast. We'll see you next time. Have a good night, my guy.
You too, man.